Do I look good?
You look great. Great.
Okay, so there's been a lot of debate on the forums about whether you can oak and age whiskey using oak chips from the Homebrew supply store. This is a process that I've done something similar to this many times, and I find that it actually works really well. The theory is that whiskey aged in barrels and left out to season when the seasonal changes, the oak will expand and contract and introduce oxygen into the whiskey, smoothing it out and adding caramelized sugars into the liqueur, making it taste a lot better and smoother and easier to drink. However, what I found that it works really well just to use some oak chips in a whiskey. So what we have here is a 120 proof barley whiskey that we recently distilled. Some dark, heavy toast dark chips purchased from the local homebrew store. And I rinsed some of these chips off to get some of the dust off. I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to try and use this sock here, just again from the homebrew store for like $1. Use this to kind of keep some of the wood chips and splinters from floating out into the whiskey. So I'll just put that into the sock. Now I'm using quite a bit for the volume here since I'm just using a mason jar. And so we'll use quite a bit of oak for that volume, and if it turns out to be a little strong, we can go back later and dilute it, or if it turns out weak, we can add more oak later. Making a huge mess.
Julia Childs.
Alright, so you see I got my little sock of whiskey. Hopefully that'll control some of the splinters and little debris, the floaties, so we don't have to filter this later. But I mean, I'm not too worried about it. If we get some chips in there, then we'll just filter those out somehow. So just stuff that down in there and fill this up. Now one thing you might be able to do that might help is if you steam the oak chips instead of rinse them, you might be able to expand the oak a little bit more and get some of those sugars out, but I don't think that's really necessary. It might help, but it's not the most important thing. Okay, so that's it right there. And what I'll do is I'll just put this in the pantry and put it away for a couple of years. I like to put it away for a couple of years, open it and test it periodically, let the oxygen get into it. That helps the flavor a little bit. Here's one that I put away about 6 months ago. So you see it's got a nice golden tawny color. This one I didn't use chips, but I used these French oak spirals. And you end up with a wonderful smelling whiskey, very sweet, very smooth, and cheers. Had a delicious, smooth, oaky flavor, and it works just fine. So if you're, looking at, want to save some money on buying oak barrels and want to try the wood chips at home, this is a great way to do it. Thanks.